Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm sorry. Good morning, JoomlaDay, Greece!
Hey.
I know it's early and there hasn't been enough coffee in my system yet, but I'm hoping we can wake up a little bit this morning, get ourselves energized for 2 days of Joomla. All right? All right. So first, I know the Wi-Fi is working here, right? This is a safe tweeting zone. If you want to tweet, this is the hashtag you should be using, correct? All right, good. And if you want to say anything good or bad about my presentation, that's me over there. All right, first of all, we wouldn't be here today without some amazing sponsors. So thank you to all of our sponsors. And thank you, Curtis, and the JoomlaDay team here. And some of you know, I want to say congrats to Omar. He's a new member of the production leadership team. He's out in the United States, just joined the production leadership team yesterday. But first, we need to do a little something. We need to get energized, and this is going to require some serious crowd participation. So I need everybody to stand up. Sorry, I know you were getting comfortable and getting ready to tweet. Here's what we're going to do. You may have seen this on MTV or Carson Daly or all the fun shows. I'm going to say this, and then you have to say this, all right? Really easy. Okay. When I say Joomla, you say rocks. Joomla.
Rocks.
Joomla.
Rocks.
When I say Athens, you say rocks. Athens.
Rocks.
Athens.
Rocks.
When I say Joomla, wait, hold on. And when I say Joomla, you say rocks. Joomla.
Rocks.
Joomla.
Rocks.
Thank you very much. All right. I needed that maybe more than you all did. I didn't get much sleep last night. Okay, no, that's the wrong side. Okay, so my name again is Ryan Ozimek. I'm the president of Open Source Matters. We're the nonprofit organization that helps support the Joomla project. I live in Washington. I also live here in San Francisco. I spent a lot of time on airplanes, but very excited to be here today with you all. I'm also the CEO of a web development firm for nonprofit organizations called PicMat. We only use Joomla and only work with non-governmental organizations. My goal today is to find ways to pull back that curtain, to remove whatever the secret might be, and to let you guys know what's going on in the Joomla world and in the Joomla leadership. Cool? All right, cool. So a little bit of enlightenment. So first of all, when is software more than just ones and zeros? When does it mean something more than that? I think it means something more than that when over 270 government agencies in the country of Mongolia run on Joomla. I think it's when organizations like the Polaris Project that are around the world stopping child and human slavery are using Joomla. I think it's when massive enterprise companies and businesses like eBay are helping 16,000 of their employees doing amazing data analytics with Joomla. Every generation has its challenges. Maybe some generations wanted to get to the moon. Some generations wanted to see things better for the next generation. In our Joomla world, we're at an important crossroads. What we need to do is manage the significant growth that we've seen as a community and to make sure we can provide a better Joomla for the next generation of people behind us. The next generation are folks like this person here. This is my sister. I'm proud to say that she's graduating college out in California in 2 weeks. I went out to Santa Barbara in California to talk to her and to hang out. And when I was there, because I'm her nerdy brother, I asked her some questions. I said, "So Jamie, what do you use for email today?" And she said, "Well, I use Facebook." All right? "So what do you do when you want to share photos with your friends and put them online?" "I use Facebook." All right? "What do you do for events?" "We go to Facebook." "What do you do when you share information with your sorority sisters?" "I use Facebook." Everything was Facebook. The next generation of technology and web users are not going to classical email, classical instant messaging. They're using cloud-based services that are proprietary and not open source. This is a challenge for us as a community, as well as the open source sector as a whole, to find a way to work with this next generation of users. Next generation businesses. In the Joomla world 5 years ago, there's folks that were here from the very beginning, and before that in Mambo, I know. Small businesses, hobbyists, individuals were using Joomla. Today, we've got that and all the way up the spectrum to eBay. Microsoft's been helping us out, and a wide variety of other large businesses. I'll show you in a little bit just how many users and how many people are now part of our community that we're seeing here today. It's massive. It's huge. And it's very diverse. And we have to find a way to work and to manage this growth across all of these really soon. So, let's first dive into some of the freaky, weird, scary things that are going on in open source world. There's a concept of carrots and sticks. To motivate people to do something, you either knock them over the head or you dangle them with some sort of a gift or a reward for doing good work. So, the folks at a small university called MIT worked with a small banking system called the US Federal Reserve and said, what is it that really motivates people? And what can we learn from that? And what they found was these carrots and sticks, these punishment and rewards seemed to work, but they really only worked for the basic, more rudimentary tasks. And that when things were more complex, more thinking tasks, the more that you paid for these people to do these things, the worse they did. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Seems kind of fishy. What they found was that there's 3 key things to motivate people to get stuff done. And the first is autonomy. The ability to be able to direct your life, to choose your destiny. The second is mastery. The ability for us to be able to learn something, to be passionate about it, and to master it, and to do better. And then finally, purpose. Why are we doing this? Why are we here? To be able to find that purpose for ourselves. That's critical for getting people motivated to do better. So, okay, so let me get this straight. What we need is extremely bright people that are already extremely busy. They're working on multiple laptops and a phone and drinking Diet Coke and probably talking to other people. And they're going to dedicate a lot of time for free, for no money. That doesn't make sense. Now, I'm not the genius that thought of this. I didn't do the study. I highly recommend checking out this link. This presentation will be put online hopefully later on. Highly recommend watching this nice video that talks about this some more. Because for us in the open source world, it's really critical for us to understand why this is happening. Because it's going to be important for us to determine how we can go forward as a community. So I think what we're looking for is some sort of higher purpose. I think that people are acting economically irrationally because they want to contribute to something bigger than themselves. They want to be part of something that they couldn't do if they had to do it alone. You guys have seen this gentleman before, right? I have my own iPhone here. It is completely proprietary, locked in. I can't do much with it. But Steve Jobs is a very smart man. And at Apple, people they're not going to work just to make an iPhone. Or they're not going to work just to make a MacBook Air. They're going there because they want to make a dent in the universe. The people that go to work at Google every day aren't going there because they're trying to make the next best search engine. What they're trying to do is to solve humanity's toughest problems. And I think that shift in thinking about what we're doing as a community is going to be important for us moving forward. My core open source value is this. And people that have seen me talk have seen this every time. It hasn't changed. It's a constant. The relationships we build here and at other events are actually more important than the tools themselves. Now, I believe this because in order for us to get from here to the future, we have to do that as a community. And building those relationships is the critical piece of the puzzle that's going to allow us to be successful. It's not just the tools. It's us. So we're not a bunch of lazy, TV-watching, open-source couch potatoes. We've got some very unique talents, like juggling machetes. We're more than just users of software. We're empowered contributors to what we call Joomla. So how do we empower folks? What do we do? Well, I say we get them the tools they need, we give them the processes they need to be successful, and then we get out of their way, and we watch 1,000 flowers bloom. So the short history of Joomla. In fact, I should pause for a second here. How many people have heard of an open source project called Mambo before? Raise your hand. Okay, great, that's a good indicator. And then the second question is, how many people have used Joomla for more than 2 years? Okay, so that's the majority. I will go through these slides quickly then. There was a project that started as a young project in Toowoomba, Australia, called itself Mambo, from a corporation down there that spun it off, made it an orphan, and some open source patriots came around in about 2005 and said, we are going to change things. We're not going to stay in this Mambo world, instead create what is now Joomla in 2005. Been quite a ride since then. I got some nice numbers here. This is the forum user path, growth path, from 2005 to 2011. Bottom line, 239 users sign up per day on the Joomla forums. This is the path of discussions that happen on the Joomla forums. Nice up and to the right, as you would like to see. 24 forum posts every minute on forum.joomla.org. That's not even including localized forums for Greece or Spanish-speaking people. And the growth of the ecosystem as a whole, measured by extensions on the extensions directory, 145 new extensions added every month. And that's just not the people writing the code, it's the folks volunteering their time to review and to submit and to contribute to make sure that this stuff gets put up online. Look at some of the top CMSs here. There's Drupal at 1.5% of the web. There's Joomla, nearly double it, at 2.7% of the web. WordPress is a CM something. Maybe a CMS, maybe a blog. 16% of Greek websites are powered by Joomla. But look at this. Almost 75% of the top 1 million websites are not using a CMS at all. This is our future. This is the target market we should be going for. These are the kinds of people that we want to help out that are stuck in proprietary software or something custom built that Joomla could probably provide a good solution for. So, okay, we obviously know Joomla is a massive, huge ship, right? 500,000 users, lots of downloads, 16% of all Greek websites. We're also small boats, too. There are lots of people building extensions, starting distributions, making it easier for developers to contribute code as well. So we got to lead with passion. Volunteers need to be led by these three things. We just talked about this earlier. Autonomy, mastery, purpose. So how do we get them there? How do we help contribute to that? Myself and Alex and some others, where is Alex? There you are, Mr. Kempkins there. Met together in 2008 in southern Germany and had a lot of beer, which is always very important in open source development and community moving forward. We clarified our mission as a team, as a leadership, and they said we need to write this down, and this is critical for our success moving forward. Looking at the time, okay? I got some slides here that have lots of text on it, so I might move a little faster. We want to make sure that software is free, secure, and of high quality, and a community that is enjoyable and rewarding to participate. We have a few values that we find very critical for our community. And if you ever want to, you can see our mission, vision, and values at this link here. So how did we get there? Where did we go? Well, there's two typical models in the leadership of open source projects. These are not going to be too outrageous. The first one is that of the company, the corporate model. A company starts a project, continues to lead it, and shepherds it through its success moving forward. Some corporation behind an open source project. And then there's what some people call the benevolent dictator, where you have one person who is the singular main leader, decision maker of the project. And this is amazingly a Lego form of Linus Torvalds. And then there's Joomla, this crazy, hippie, kind of socialist, kind of capitalist, not a benevolent dictator, not a corporation-led project. Something very different. I like this quote a lot. I'll actually take the time to read it. Alan Gunn is one of the folks that helps us out a lot in the Joomla leadership. I want to help out Joomla because if you can succeed, there's hope for distributed leadership models of all types in the open source world. Now this is really hard, where you don't have one person or one company that says this is the way it's going to go. When you have 9, 15, or even sometimes 25 people that are in a leadership position of an organization that's consensus-based, it takes time to get through new changes and innovations. One of the things we really focus on is being able to learn from others, and in this case, literally stand on the shoulders of the people that were there before us, to take where we were, to build new ideas, and to hopefully continue to grow over time. Now, our leadership has had a bit of evolution. We have some older historians here that have seen a lot of this evolution, but to keep it very brief, we started off with a core team of about 20 folks. Then we had Open Source Matters, which is where I'm from in the nonprofit world, with 3 folks. The goal was to make open source matters, the focus of it be legal and financial. And then the core team to do everything else, from development to marketing to you name it, they did it. So let's make open source matters weak or simple, and let's make the core team strong and effective. Well, over time we built a working group model, made it easier for us to go ahead and grow over time so that different groups of people could help the core team be successful. Those working groups had leaders that connected with the core team. Some successes: we were able to break up these very large tasks into smaller ones, which was critical. It provided some good leadership models for us all. And it enabled us to hit some really key successes when we needed to move from Mambo to Joomla. But what happened over time? Well, anytime you have a revolution, like going from Mambo to Joomla, there's a bit of a hangover period, and the party ends, and people get a little tired. People start to realize that they had a life, and they had a husband or a wife and children that they hadn't seen in a year because they were pounding away on keyboards. Leaders needed to leave their responsibilities to others and continue to grow. But the challenge was there wasn't enough support when folks needed to step aside. There was too many tasks that were going on. The working groups themselves became inactive. And simply put, there was just major burnout that happened. And the length of time it took for 1.5, Joomla 1.5 to get out the door, you can see that there was a lot of folks really tired, trying to make their way through the project. We had a core team that had a closed mailing list. We had a lot of key developers that were in lead positions for many years that got burned out. And then any community or any organization is going to have challenges, interpersonal relationships that don't always work out quite so nicely. I'm going to skip through some of this here in each of the time. They needed to simplify the working group structure, wanted to find ways to build leadership roles or teams rather than individual roles, and to speak more publicly and moving forward. So the result is this, and this is where we are today. We've got a leadership team that does the production work, all the code leadership, the community leadership that's in charge of helping lead and build the community from forums, the new Joomla people site, people.joomla.org, which isn't new, it's about a year old now. And then Open Source Matters, which does all of the legal and financial aspects of the project. So this is where we are today. A few other things that have been happening today. If my clicker would work out. You may have heard this thing called Joomla 1.6. I know a lot of us still use Joomla 1.5. That's great. I believe that this site for the JoomlaDay is in 1.6. 1.5, that's a good example of how we need to upgrade to 1.6. 1.6 includes a lot of things for designers, lots of XHTML goodness, powerful templating tools. For developers, a robust framework, new form tools, and a lot more. And for implementers, obviously, a lot of us have heard about the access control lists. Makes it easier to have more finely grained permissions for your websites. And for content managers, a categorization system that goes beyond just having 2 levels of content categorization. Some people have said good things about this. This is great. So today's Joomla is shaping up to be quite a bit different from where it was before. I know that we have a Microsoft representative in the house today. Microsoft has actually been very gracious in helping out on things like WinCache support, as well as making sure that Joomla can run on SQL Server and SQL Server Azure. There's a team of developers in the Joomla world that have made sure that Joomla also runs on Oracle databases, on Postgres databases, So folks that are looking for some more database support, that is all there. I said before eBay. eBay has been helping out a lot in drinking fun at J and Beyond, which is a conference we had not too long ago in the Joomla world, but also contributing time and energy to helping the framework project moving forward. And this was last night. Joomla, over the course of the last 4 years, has had over 23 million downloads. So what we need to make sure is that we're applying the right technology for today's challenges. That we're not trying to hang fine pieces of art with sledgehammers, because if you do that, you get a big hole in the wall. We need to make sure we're using and providing the right tools to developers and users. So our community strives for a few things. A powerful framework for our developers to make sure they have the power to do some cool stuff moving forward. We need to make sure that they're scalable for implementers, for people that are managing websites and growing websites for their organizations or for their companies. And we need to make sure we have user-friendly tools for the long tail, the large portion of our community that are just end users trying to learn how to use these tools best. So again, Joomla is a massive ship, not just this very, very large, and we need to find ways to continue to keep this ship moving in the right direction. So how do we do this? How do we move this big ship forward as a community? A couple things. First of all, let's recognize some of the strengths we have. We've got a very stable platform. We've got a massive third-party community that's represented well here today. Obviously a very large user community, but we also have some challenges and weaknesses to take into account. It's tough when you're a large, gigantic ship to move quickly and nimbly through the water. We are huge. It takes time for us to change course. New releases have been slow. Joomla 1.5 and Joomla 1.6 both took about 3 years to come out, and that's not fast enough in today's web world. There's a framework that we've been hiding, or at least we haven't been talking enough about, to let people know how exciting and how powerful this is, and how much people could be using it for new things beyond just the CMS. So the power of this framework. Has anybody heard of the Joomla framework or the Joomla platform project? All right. That's some of us. We need to do a better job of communicating this. Essentially, the framework is comprised of these things. Some core libraries. It helps applications like the CMS itself run. So you have the framework, and then you've got the CMS that we all know and love running as an application on top of the framework. So what I think we need to be doing is elevating the discussion of what we're doing in the Joomla world. So we've all seen this kind of a spectrum, right? We've got WordPress over here on the left, Drupal over here on the right. Oftentimes it's said, WordPress, simple, easy, effective, blogging tool. Drupal on the right. This is a bunch of developer hammers and nails and lumber and lets you get stuff done decently well. And Joomla fits kind of somewhere in the middle. Well, the big difference, I think, is the framework. That we have something that these two don't. And we have the ability to take this framework and to do some very powerful things with it. So, okay, a couple questions. What is this thing? How can we bring these ideas to the forefront? All right, developers. Any developers still awake? Raise your hands. Woo! All right, great. Okay. Rise and shine. You can contribute to this framework project. It's on GitHub. GitHub.com/Joomla. Go there today, see what's going on. Pretty interesting stuff happening there. Another little screenshot. I just took this from, I think it was this morning. There's been a couple of updates here. There's already been 23 forks of the Joomla framework. A fork in GitHub land is just a way for you to be able to make your own version. And the way we got here and where we're going forward is a big change from where we've been in a 3-year release cycle. So the old way was feature-based releases. It will be released whenever it's ready, is the quote you might hear. When we get everything done that we need to get done, that's when it's going to go out the door. The new way is time-based releases. And this is more focused on having a clear understanding as to the time between each release. In this case, in Joomla world, it's 6 months. So on January 10 was when Joomla 1.6 came out. By July 10 is when Joomla 1.7 will come out. Time-based rather than feature-based. The challenge with time-based is that we're not really sure what's going to be in it. So for 8 years, from Mambo through Joomla, we've done it, 9 years, we've done it one way, feature-based. And in the last 5 months, we've started on a new trajectory of time-based releases. And we'll see how it goes. This is how things look. So you start here with Joomla 1.6. It releases. The platform development, or the framework project, starts on its way. Alongside of it, CMS development work happens over here. And the goal is that every 6 months, the two come together. So you've got people working on the framework, people working on the CMS. Every 6 months, they meet up again. We rinse and repeat. We do it again. Platform, CMS development, merge them together for Joomla 1.8. Generally makes sense? So the goal is to accommodate the huge, huge ship as well as the small sailing boats that are trying to work together for happy, energized developers. So who's going to do all of this work? In the past, there was like 2 people, 4 people that were really hammering away on the keyboards, getting stuff done, and trying to get people in the community, and sometimes being successful, and sometimes not being able to bring folks in successfully and to help them out to contribute to the project. So how are we going to do this now? What's different? What's changed? How are things going to be better? I guess that's the end. I guess we lost, there's some amazing slides coming up. The projector couldn't take it. Well, I'll tell you anyways. It's you. It's everybody here who's going to be making Joomla 1.7 and 1.8. Nobody's going to come down from the mountaintop with 2 stone tablets telling you, this is the new version of Joomla. Go forward and make websites. That's not going to happen anymore. It's different. Instead, we have some more slides. Instead, we have a new step-by-step process that both developers and non-developers can get involved in. Easy stuff. We're trying to do a better job of communicating it. So first of all, for people, unplug, plug in?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Plug it back in. Oh, look at that. There we go. That's great. All right, there we go. First of all, read the vision for the upcoming release. This is what the leadership says. For the next 6 months, we want to tackle these things. This 1.7 release vision is at that link below. So after you've had a chance to see the vision, you're thinking to yourself, gosh, there's some good ideas that I have that I would want to contribute or see if other people are thinking about this too. The idea pool at ideas.joomla.org is where you can go to submit or vote on ideas. Essentially a place where you can pair up or find developers or give developers some sort of indication as to what we as a community would like to see done in the future. So you can just vote on already existing ideas, or you can submit your own. Now, if you want to dive into the code a little more, we could always use help on hunting and squashing bugs. The bug tracker is the place you go to take the time to find bugs that people are reporting, or to report them yourself, and to go ahead and help squash them. Submit a patch. There's instructions there how to do it, to find bugs and to get rid of them. And down below here, this CMS dev list, there is a discussion list, an email discussion list, that's just for folks interested in learning about the content management system and how they can contribute to it and how they can help out. A great place for developers that are starting with Joomla to learn more about how they can contribute to the community. So let's say you want to go beyond just squashing a bug. You want to go beyond having just an idea. You want to contribute a feature, a new piece of Joomla that didn't exist before, and you want to take an idea from the idea pool, you want to work with other developers, and you want to contribute something to the project. You can do that through the feature tracker. With these links here, talk with developers on the email list, get together, submit a new feature into the feature tracker, and push it into this list. Right now, there are 25 pending new features contributed by the community for Joomla 1.7. And then finally, let's say that you're not looking to add a small feature. You've got a big idea. It's going to completely change the way the CMS works, or it fundamentally changes the way some underlying functionality exists. You can do that by asking to create a new branch, effectively giving yourself a small kind of copy of Joomla from that point, and to grow it over time with some help from the leadership team to make sure that we find a way to merge that back in to the project. Big, big changes, worked on by the community, feed it back into the project over time. So, getting involved, you got the vision to read, you're able to vote on good ideas, you're able to contribute your own ideas, fix some bugs for us, think about creating some small new feature patches, or revolutionize the system by getting a branch and working on it with maybe a team or yourself to try doing something completely different that doesn't exist today. So, what about non-developers? Who are the non-developers in the room? All right, there's room for you too. We can do this. Volunteer opportunities. So I'm the president of Open Source Matters, OSM, the nonprofit, right? We need some help. And if you're not a developer but you want to contribute, you can still do that too. We need people that know how to spend and use money. Treasurers, accountants. We need your help. Marketing people. I know there's marketing people in here. People that have done public relations or advertising or case studies. We want to promote Joomla and give those tools to web implementers around the world so they can go forward and spread the good Joomla word. And capital committee. If we're going to be spending and managing money up here, we got to be making some money for the project down here below so we can fund travel, so we can fund summits, so we can fund events for the community. We need to find ways to continue to bring money in, new sponsors like the great sponsors we have here today. And we're looking for help for all of these. So if anybody's interested, there's my email address. I'll be here for the whole weekend. Just very briefly, I know some people think, gosh, you know, Ryan, you said Joomla is this huge ship, and it's just got 23 million downloads, and there's so much going on in the community. How can my tiny little contributions ever add up to anything here? Well, short story for you. I started off just as a lowly person helping out nonprofits using Joomla. got some traction, started a lot of discussions, went ahead and was asked to lead up a discussion forum in the larger Joomla forums, just on nonprofit organizations. And then Johan and Lewis and some other good folks in the community said, hey Ryan, you know something about nonprofits, want to help us out in this open source, or this open source matters world. Okay, so I became a board member. With the help of people like Alex Kempkins, who was our leader, our events team leader, I got pulled under his wing to put on events in the US. I said, hey, I can contribute. I can be a FOTUS. I can try to do a JoomlaDay somehow. Did one out west in California. Did one out east in New York. I guess that Alex thought I was doing a decent job and asked for me to become the events team leader. Became the capital committee chair to help bring money in for the project. And now I'm like Obama for OSM, I guess. So I started off by like tiny little single minuscule contributions of writing forum posts to help out nonprofit organizations. And over the course of 5 years, 6 years, even as a non-developer, I've been able to find ways to contribute and help out. So for developers in the room, I think we've got a good path for you to contribute and to recognize the valued contributions you can bring to the project. And for non-developers, we're building more volunteer opportunities that we should be posting on our website soon, so the community can come and easily contribute in from a non-developer perspective as well. So just to wrap things up for us, it looks like I'll be doing this right on time, so that's perfect. A vision of the future. So I really think that this Joomla framework thing is going to be pretty darn cool. I've seen some of the work that the guys are doing in GitHub. Anybody can download it and take a look at it. When I talk to young people at universities, nobody says, Ryan, what I really want to do is to make the next cool commenting component for Joomla. Nobody says that. What they say is, I want to build the next Facebook on the Joomla framework. I want to do something that nobody's doing that has nothing to do with a content management system, and I want to use the Joomla framework to make that happen. That's different from where we were just a year or two ago. We've got a wonderful opportunity, and that's the trajectory where computer science students and others want to go. I really think that the investment that we've seen by large enterprise companies, as well as organizations that are helping them out, have been fabulous. The framework, again, has been really critical to success for larger companies. And the way that I see it, the framework provides the glue, an open source glue for large corporations that are trying to tie together different applications in their IT stack. They could use the Joomla framework or even the Joomla CMS to bring these different pieces together behind the scenes to make sure that maybe even their proprietary systems still can talk and function together. We're seeing a lot of new alternative databases that I think in Joomla 1.7 are going to be fired and connected into the project. So that hopefully within 2 months, somebody can build a Joomla site that runs on any of these databases, which is great. I love going to Microsoft events and saying to people there, well, guess what? You too are going to be able to natively use Joomla on IIS and a Microsoft SQL server and be up and running easily. I see that as another opportunity for us to continue to grow our community. So, we need to remain focused. There's so much going on in this Joomla world, on this gigantic ship. There's Twitter, there's Facebook, there's forums, there's local user groups, there's J and Beyond conferences, there's things going on everywhere. But we need to remain focused and moving forward as a team and a community together. We've got to make sure that we're sparking the fire and the passion of young people that are coming into our community to open our arms to them, make this a welcoming community for them, and to find ways to take their contributions and to add it to the success of this long story that we have of Joomla. And most importantly, remember this, nobody is going to come down and just hand us the next version of Joomla. It's going to be up to us as a community to work together to make this happen, to submit new ideas, to submit new features, to build new branches, to be part of the framework project, to contribute your volunteer opportunities to helping in marketing, raising money for the project. We're a community. There is no corporate overlord. There's no benevolent dictator here. We're only going to be successful if we do this together. I would love to see tweets like this over the course of the weekend where people say, I'm going to contribute to Joomla, are you? Hashtag JD11GR. I want the community around the world to see that the folks here in Greece are going to find ways to contribute, and I'm happy to be a person to put you in the connection with the right people to get involved with the project. We've got a lot to do, folks. This is a big community. We're growing large. We're getting bigger every day. We're 2.8% of the web, and we're doing it as a community. Thank you, guys.